Hello and welcome back to the video. I really appreciate you dropping in, and if you enjoy the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that fun stuff. Today's video, as per usual, is a very deep video, so viewer discretion is advised. Before we get into the rest of the video, I do want to give a special thank you to today's video sponsor, Scentbird. Easily one of my favorite sponsors. If you're like me and you enjoy smelling good all the time, Scentbird is your place. You can get monthly subscription boxes every month with your favorite fragrances, and you get to choose them. Make sure to click the link in the description or the pinned comment and use code YOURMAKER2 for 55% off your first order. As I just said, Scentbird is easily one of my favorite sponsors for the channel. And this month I am lucky enough to try the Harmonist Magnetic Wood Giggity. And I must say, it's very sweet smelling. It smells like a really sweet wood. Very nice. And look how much they give you. It's not just like you get a couple squirts. That's going to last you a good while. The next one I have is Sexual Steel. Oh yeah, you know that sounds good. And it is amazing. Holy crap. It's a very light smell, but beautiful. And then the third one I got this month is Wildfire. And my goodness, this is also not very heavy on the nostrils. It's beautiful. With the fragrances you get, they actually come in custom cases, so you can have it locked in your pocket and not have it crushed or broken, which is amazing. And it's as easy as just putting them together and flipping the lock if you want to lock it. Scentbird is your go-to stop for all your fragrance needs. It's as easy as picking a scent, activating your subscription, make sure to use my code, get your discount, and receive your fragrances in the mail every month, baby. You can go through and choose any fragrance you want. I mean, Marc Jacobs, Dolce & Gabbana. And if you don't know what you want to try, they do have a short quiz that'll help guide you into what you're looking for. Once again, don't forget to click the link in the description or the pinned comment and use code YOURMAKER2 for 55% off your first order. Want to give a big thank you to one of my favorite sponsors, Scentbird. Really appreciate you. Much love. And without any further ado, let's begin. November 18th, 2016. Ohio State University. Abdul Razak Ali Artan was a seemingly mild-mannered Somalian student at the Ohio State University. According to his mother, he was a devoted son and frequently volunteered to drive his younger siblings to school every day. As it turns out, Abdul was a very troubled man under his cheerful exterior. He came from a refugee background. He fled his homeland with his family in 2007. After that, they lived in Pakistan until 2014, and then came to the United States as legal permanent residents. Records from Catholic Charities indicate that he stayed in a temporary shelter in Dallas before settling in Ohio. Despite his circumstances, Abdul attended Columbus State Community College for 2 years, graduating with an associate's degree before moving on to Ohio State to continue his studies. At this point, the cracks in his life had begun to form. On top of his refugee status, Abdul was struggling with issues of faith and feeling marginalized. The OSU student newspaper, The Lantern, published an interview with Mr. Artan. In this interview, he complained about being afraid to pray in public as a Muslim because of people's negative perceptions of the religion. This eventually led him to becoming influenced by jihadist propaganda. He began reading up on the teachings of Islamic extremist groups and preachers. This included the ideology of ISIS, as well as the radical cleric Anwar al-Awlaki. Despite dying in 2011, al-Awlaki's propaganda was linked to several domestic terrorist attacks in the years after his death. Abdul began spending a lot of time online browsing through ISIS-affiliated media, like websites and magazines. Many of the things he read and searched for online were shocking. From these sources, he acquired instructions on how to carry out terror attacks on citizens in heathen nations, especially Western countries, with knives and vehicles. These instructions called on jihadists to aim at easy targets, like teens playing sports after school and flower sellers. Abdul was told to smash their heads with rocks, slaughter them with knives, or run them over with cars, amongst many other gruesome killing methods. The more Abdul was exposed to these materials, the more radicalized he became. All the while, his family and friends were unaware of his change. He still appeared to be the same person, at least outwardly. Abdul soon believed himself to be a faithful soldier of ISIS. In his thought process, any discomfort at the thought of killing innocents was never an excuse for abandoning jihad. At this point, there had been numerous copycat attacks across America and Europe, using similar methods. Abdul would soon become one of these attacks. Eventually, Abdul traveled all the way from Ohio to Washington, D.C., which is 426 miles away, to purchase a knife from Home Depot. He then purchased a second knife the day before the attack at a Columbus Walmart. A few hours before the attack, Abdul made a Facebook post. In it, he spoke about the lone wolf terrorism attacks and said that Muslims would not let the heathens sleep unless they granted the Muslims peace. Abdul also talked about reaching a boiling point on seeing fellow Muslims tortured and killed in other countries, especially Myanmar. He signed off with a chilling statement by saying, "America, stop interfering with other countries, especially Muslim. Ummah, the community, are not weak. We are not weak. Remember that." It was a normal Monday morning for the students on Ohio State University campus, until Abdul's horrifying attack changed their lives forever. The incident began with a fire alarm. Someone had called in reporting a fluorine leak in the lab building. Because of this, a large group of students and protesters were evacuated and gathered outside while waiting for the leak to be fixed. Nothing seemed to be amiss. They remained calm, freely talking and joking around with each other while waiting for the problem to be fixed. Then a car suddenly appeared on the sidewalk. It was approaching at high speeds and plowed right into the group of students, knocking many of them down. Anyone in the way was rammed, including a campus police officer as well as Professor William Clark, who was thrown onto the concrete. The car stopped only when it hit a concrete block. With his car totaled, Abdul emerged wielding a knife. Erratically, he slashed and stabbed at whoever he could reach, injuring a few people before taking off running further onto the campus. At this point, an alert was issued, and OSU went on lockdown. Students and faculty alike ran for cover and barricaded themselves inside any available rooms. Haley Gardner, a sophomore, says she was on her way to a chemistry lab when the attack occurred. She saw a bunch of people running for their lives and screaming and yelling, along with the sound of 4 or 5 gunshots. She immediately scrambled to a residence hall for shelter. Sean Cody was also running late for his philosophy class, and after hearing a loud boom, he sprinted into a building to alert fellow students. He described it as a bang, a dust cloud, then shouting and screaming, and people running away in every direction. A minute later, Cody heard gunshots. A few other students managed to contact 911, voicing their concerns about Abdul's attack and requesting immediate help.
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, Watts Hall on OSU's campus. Somebody just drove through a crowd full of people. He's not firing a gun. Or I don't know who's firing a gun. Looks like a campus police officer.
Okay,
He just drove through. We need an ambulance here fast, please. There's a guy hit. He's on the ground. There's another person on the ground.
Hold on. Let me get you over to OSU PD, okay? What's this guy look like with a gun? Do you know?
It was a black male. He took off running. He looks like they stopped him. There's an ambulance coming up the street right now.
What kind of car was it?
It's sitting right here. It's a silver Honda Civic. The guy took off running that way.
911. Hey, it's Columbus with the transfer.
Ambulance here in front of Watts Hall, 19th and College Avenue right now. There's a man bleeding from his head.
Okay, wait a minute. Where are you?
Watts Hall, 19th and College Avenue.
19th and College?
Yes, ma'am.
What's going on with him?
There's a man who drove a car through a group full of people. He hit an OSU employee. He drove it into a crowd of people. The car is now sitting in front of the building. The man got out of the car and took off running. But I just see an ambulance here right now. There's a man who
OSU, it's Watts Hall, 2041. Watts Hall on OSU's campus. I'm going to get your medic.
Yes, ma'am.
During the chaos, while everyone was seeking shelter, some took to Twitter. Numerous photos were posted of barricaded classrooms, and the emergency hotlines were inundated by calls. All the while, Abdul seemingly remained on the loose. Some students who were able to escape Abdul's rampage and flee into the surrounding areas also took the opportunity to do so. One such call was from Jeremy Weiss.
911, what is the location of the emergency?
I'm on just south of Woodruff on the OSU campus. Somebody just ran over a policeman, ran into a big crowd of people, and it sounded like I heard gunshots. I don't know.
Okay, so it's going to be Woodruff and where? Give me a cross street.
A block south of Woodruff, cross street. Shit, it's a block west of High Street on the OSU campus.
Give me 1 second. I want you to stay with me.
Okay.
Okay, this was an officer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw him. The car ran into him and then plowed into a crowd of students that were standing outside.
What does the vehicle look like?
It was a gray. It looked like a Honda Civic. I'm like a block or two away now. I ran as soon as I thought I heard gunshots.
Did you get a license plate number?
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Okay. I've already got help heading that way over there. I want you to stay with me just a moment here.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. We definitely got help coming over there. Is the officer...
I see cars coming now. Good.
Is the officer up and moving?
I don't know. The car hit him. It looked pretty bad.
This emergency lasted an hour and a half before the authorities lifted it. And this is what happened to Abdul. It turns out he was fatally shot within a minute of the initial attack by a campus police officer, Alan Haruchko. Alan was coincidentally on the scene early as a response to a gas leak alarm. Despite having pulled a 16-hour shift prior, he volunteered to assist firefighters at McQuigg Laboratory and ensure the safety of the students. As he was monitoring the situation, he noticed Abdul's gray Honda Civic jump a curb. It struck several people and skidded to a stop in the middle of a courtyard after hitting a concrete planter. At first, he thought someone had lost control of their car. It looked like an accident, so he didn't pay it much attention. After a while, Alan approached the car to investigate, but found an empty driver's seat. Then he heard the screams. He drew his gun and asked a student nearby what was going on. The student informed him that Abdul was wielding a machete. Alan later stated in an interview about the attack that the next minute felt like an hour to him. He spotted Abdul running with a large butcher-style knife. Abdul was running up and down the street diagonally, chasing anybody he could reach and slashing wildly at everyone. Alan yelled at him to drop the knife, but Abdul either did not hear him or refused to comply. Abdul then started making his way to the chemical and biomolecular engineering building with Alan chasing him. Along the way, he slashed someone with his knife, and the victim collapsed to the ground. At this point, Alan wanted to shoot Abdul, but there were too many students nearby. He didn't want to risk their lives. Instead, Alan continued calling out to Abdul, hoping he would respond and give up. Finally, Abdul responded to Alan's call. Still holding a knife, Abdul turned to look at a woman he was chasing. He looked at the doors to the building he was going to, and then he looked at Alan and charged. Alan fired his gun, although he states he barely remembers doing so. Abdul was shot 5 times in the head and chest and died on the spot. OSU sophomore Jacob Bowers was able to witness Alan firing his gun at Abdul. He states that Alan waited until there was no one else nearby. Abdul was totally silent and had a crazy look in his eyes as he charged Alan, and it took 3 shots to stop him. Thanks to Alan's quick thinking, the situation was kept under control before Abdul could injure anyone else. Another emergency call was made by a fellow student who also witnessed this altercation.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'm at Ohio State, right outside of Watts Hall, and there was a guy crashed his car into a bunch of people and ran out with a knife chasing down people.
Okay, where is this?
It's Ohio State University, right outside of Watts Hall. There's a bunch of police here. I think they got it, but I saw everything happen right in front of me.
Okay. What's your name? Okay, what happened?
This guy, we were all standing outside because the fire alarm went off. This guy in a Honda Civic came out, ran through the crowd, jumped out of his car, and started chasing down people with a knife, and he was running down Woodruff. That's on stage. Oh, my God.
Okay, listen, we're on the way. Can you tell me what he's wearing?
I think he is dead. I am looking at him now. Never mind.
You think he's dead?
I think I just see him by the police.
Did we shoot him?
I can't tell. I ran away when it all happened.
Okay, which way did he run toward? Are the police around him?
They are.
Okay. He hit one of our officers?
No, he hit a bunch of students.
Okay. And I think he hit an
He
officer.
ran over the students with his car. I don't know.
I know. How many people do you think need medics? Do you know?
Probably at least 4 or 5. Unless people being treated now.
Okay.
According to media reports, 6 people were hit by Abdul's car, and 5 had stab wounds or lacerations. Fortunately, all victims made a full recovery. The only casualty was Abdul himself. Following the attack, the Islamic State group claimed responsibility for Abdul's actions. In a media statement, they claimed he was a brave soldier. The FBI initially said that Abdul appeared to have been inspired by the group. They then began their investigation and found no evidence of others being involved in planning or helping with the attack. October 13th, 2022. Raleigh, North Carolina. Austin Thompson was a seemingly ordinary 15-year-old like you would find in many other American schools. He had a loving family, his parents as well as an older brother, and yet this mild-mannered boy held in him the capability for great evil. It was just another evening in Raleigh, North Carolina. On the street in Neuse River Greenway, people were walking their dogs or out for a run. Suddenly, loud gunshots shattered the idyllic atmosphere. Screams filled the air as Austin Thompson began firing his shotgun. 2 women and a dog were his first victims. Nicole Connors and her dog Sammy died on the spot. Another armed woman was critically wounded. Austin then continued moving northeast on foot. He encountered an off-duty cop, Gabriel Torres, in his car. Before the cop could respond, Thompson shot him dead for no reason at all. At this point, a bystander took a photograph of the shooter. This photo began circulating amongst police. At this point, emergency calls were beginning to pour into the police hotlines. Panicked callers described Thompson as a white kid wearing camouflage gear. One person said they saw a kid shoot someone, then run back into the woods. Many residents in the area heard the gunshots, saw their neighbors getting attacked, and were terrified. Sonia Jones says her family was outside walking when they spotted Thompson. They had to run into someone's house for shelter. Sonia also claims to have witnessed Austin shooting Torres, her neighbor, while he was coming out to get into his car. A woman hiding in her house during this ordeal dialed 911.
911, what's the location for your emergency?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's the location for your emergency?
I was just, Mom and I are at home, and we heard some shots outside, and I looked out my window, and there's the neighbor is on the ground, I think.
What's the address? So, he's on the ground?
Yeah, somebody's on the ground. I don't know which one.
Okay, hang on a second.
But we heard some screaming. Okay. And she's laying on the floor of the bush. On the bush. Is somebody on the porch too? Somebody on the porch? There's 2 people. There's somebody laying by the bush, and there's somebody laying on the porch.
Do you know what their address is on? Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
On Tinelli Way, the person that's down is...
It's 2 people.
Okay, yeah, I'm letting them know.
Okay. They're right beside us.
Did you see anybody running or shooting or anything?
No, we just heard it. We heard the shots and we heard them screaming. And so we got down because we heard it was a gun. And so when it stopped, then we got up and looked out our window because my window was right. I could see their house from my window.
Austin's rampage continued and took the lives of 2 more women. Bride-to-be Mary Marshall and mother of 3 Susan Carnetts. By 6:42 p.m., about 2 hours since the shootings began, police determined Austin was hiding inside a barn-like structure in the neighborhood. When officers arrived, Austin began shooting, striking one of the department's canine officers. The officers retaliated, firing 23 rounds over the course of another 3 hours before they finally managed to take him down.
It's me. Good here, long.
Those lights are. Oh, fuck!
That way.
Cover! Back further! Behind cover! Where's he hit?
Right knee.
Alright, put his tourniquet on. Get a tourniquet on his right knee. Hurry up.
Right knee.
When officers gained entry into the building he was hiding in, they found Austin incapacitated from an apparent gunshot wound. According to police reports, he was found with a handgun, a large knife, and a backpack filled with several types of shotgun ammunition. Austin was taken to the hospital and is making a very slow recovery after being in critical condition. Later investigations revealed that Austin's first victim was actually his older brother James. James was found dead in his home. He had been shot and stabbed. In total, 5 people died, and 2 others were wounded. The 5 identified victims range in age from 16 to 52 years old. According to Raleigh Police Chief Estella D. Patterson, Austin's murder spree spanned more than 2 miles. When calls came in about the violence, Patterson was at a law enforcement conference where they were talking about gun violence and making the community safer. The shocking news was a bleak reminder to her of the importance of those preventative measures. But why did he do it? Even his parents were shocked and have no answers. In an interview, they stated, "We have so many unanswered questions. There were never any indications or warning signs that Austin was capable of doing anything like this. Was it bad influences at school? Did he suffer a psychotic episode? Perhaps the criminal proceedings will reveal more information, but as of now, we are all left guessing." Prosecutors say they intend to charge him as an adult if he ever recovers from his injuries. If you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you. And if you're looking to stay smelling good, make sure to click the link in the description and use my code YourMaker2 for 55% off your first order at Scentbird. So I really do appreciate you guys dropping in. And there's been a lot of stuff going on in the world that's pretty crazy. Not just these 911 calls, but a bunch of other stuff. I guess I don't need to get into it here, most of you should be up to date. So make sure to stay safe out there. Once again, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And I will catch you in the next video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true. Bad bye.